Welcome to the potty. Get it? Podcast. Party. Welcome to the potty. Yeah. Come on in. Can I get an amen for the cornbread commentary? And come and get served like a commissary. We don't always agree like a promissory. Cause nephew got stats and uncle got facts. And shout out to the viewers cause they always got cracks and jokes. Y'all think y'all funny. Thank you for stopping by. Come on in. Join the party. Cornbread commentary.
Ooh-wee, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cornbread commentary. What's happening, nephew?
What's up, man? What's up, man? I'm feeling better this week.
That's looking good. Too much better. Like you feed, man. You know, last week a little lethargic, and rightfully, you're doing well.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's today a big day all around the world, pretty much.
Yes, sir. Yes, and for all of you who are watching, you're coming in, and honestly, I'd rather you be somewhere else right now than watching us if you had already. But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know and you're watching us, that's a problem. That's a big problem. We'll get into why that's a problem. But ladies and gentlemen, it's election day. It's election day. And a lot of you are saying, well, hold on. What do you mean election day? We voted 2 years ago. So, you know, tell them, nephew, I mean, what this election is.
This is a more, I would say you need to vote here more than you vote for the president, honestly. This directly affects you and your kids, or, you know, your parents or grandparents, stuff like that. People that make the rules or the laws, I should say, that directly affects you. And, you know, funding for the schools, funding for, you know, highways, just different stuff. So this is what that election is about. My mom actually, every time this happens, she works at the polling place in Selma, you know, helping people vote and register and all that stuff. So it's a big day, man. It's a big day.
It is a real big day. And I'm glad you put it so eloquently that this is where you want to really get out and vote, because so many matters or issues. There's a term that I've been hearing the last couple of weeks is what's on the ballot. We have names, ballot, what's behind them, and that's what the midterm elections are about. So want to just, you know, just a bit, right? Midterms. This is especially right now. They're fighting for is key positions in the Senate, key positions in the gubernatorial races, your governor, and key positions in our House. For all of you who are removed from elect what it truly means, you can say it like this: the president, which we voted in 2020, no matter who you're for, the president is our chief, chief leader of the United States. The decisions that the president, or say some of the propaganda that the president wants to push, no matter if you're red or blue, are all backed by the Senate, they're all backed by the House. And if you control one or the other, more than likely you'll get your agenda approved. And that's why it's so big, because there's some things that this current president or presidency is looking to push and encourage, that he actually, if you look at the numbers of the Senate, controlled the opportunity to get a lot of those pieces and those agendas approved. There was a small little hiccup in regards to particular Senator from West Virginia, who kind of surprised him. And so, therefore, a lot of those things that this current president wanted to get on his agenda got honestly got let's just say pushed to the now Senate races in Georgia. All you who are familiar with Herschel Walker, Tony, I'll let you jump in here in a second. I mean
Uh-huh.
Raphael Warnock, which is Senator Warnock. That is a big key race for all of the Democratic Republican side down in the state of Georgia. If you look about Herschel Walker in general as a politician.
Oh man, Herschel Walker, man. All I got to say is all skin folk ain't kin folk, man. And I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. Just some of his antics, some of his takes. We have to be equal to all people, but it's just I just don't understand him. I just don't understand him, man, and I don't want to, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But with that being said,
So
voting, you can still vote. You can still vote until 7:30. It's only six.
absolutely,
It's only 6 o'clock.
absolutely.
You can still vote. Hey, you got time.
Plenty of time, whether you're voting red, blue, or independent, you have plenty of time to go out and vote. And let me just say this about voting: sisters paid the ultimate price, and to have us and to be heard. Um, Personally, whenever I go in, whether I early vote or whether I vote the day of for me, which gave us an opportunity to have a voice 2022 going on to 2023. I've heard stories of how things were in the 50s, the 60s, and so therefore, if you got a certain agenda or on referendum, at least be moved to think about the people who didn't have a voice back 30, 40, and 50 years ago. And some of these people still live and can tell you those stories. So go out, as we used to say, go out and rock. Nephew, I'm gonna let you take it over from here. I got some technical difficulties on my side. You take it over from here.
It's all good. It's all good, man. We still a work in progress. I would like to say once again, man, for those of you joining, it's a big day. You can still wherever you are, you can still vote till 7:30. We gave our takes on it. You know why it's important. Just go out and do it, man. There's so many people before us that fought and died. Just to be able to have the right to vote and marched and protested. So go do your thing. Go vote. You got until 7:30 to get it done. And with that being said, man, ACC basketball is here, man. ACC basketball is here. We still in the thick of football season, so we ain't gonna touch on basketball too much. But we got to get the early predictions in before the season starts for real, for real. So my first question to you is who is your coach of the year and your player of the year in the ACC for men's basketball? Your early prediction.
Man, and you hit me with this way too early. I'm football. So for me, I'd have to say right off the top of the dome, you. So there's a long line. Right? If Hubert Davis that went to the national championship just a year, every year. And I know everybody's looking at the game last night. If you paid attention, but if he can take the team back to a national championship Final Four, he should be the national coaching national of the year. Um, with you. That's wide open for me. I don't want to say just yet. Let me visit that out to the leagues. A couple of games, of course. All I'm gonna say Hubert Davis. Oh, he's again player of the year. I have just yet. Nephew, who was your early coach of the year and player?
You already know I'm going Hubert Davis, man. He I still think he has a full roster now. Last year he was kind of didn't have depth at all, so he had to just play who he had. But now he has options, so I want to see what he does with those options. But I definitely have him as coach of the year in the ACC and potentially national coach of the year. And I'm going to say player of the year. Easy to say Baycott, or one of these one and done guys. But I think I'm gonna go RJ
Yeah,
Davis. RJ Davis.
man.
His bag, he got a
W-
big bag on him, and man, I feel like he's the heart of our team, and I think if he plays well, at the level he played against Baylor
Yeah,
and in the tournament, then I think we can win it all. But
yeah,
I could see him being
yeah.
player of the year.
I just said a second. I didn't want to say anything out loud, but man, I think you were in my head. So, um, but let's give it a week or so. And
Uh-huh.
not to cheat and say, oh, well, that's easy to pick someone after you've seen them play, but and there's a lot of guys that we're not talking about, and I know we're talking about Carolina. It sounds like
Uh-huh.
we set this up to talk about Carolina. We did, but NC State had a good night last night. And I
Uh-huh.
get it. In the past 2 or 3 years, NC State's warm-up games haven't necessarily gone in the direction they wanted to go. Whether they got the dub, it just didn't look good. It actually looked pretty good from beginning to the end. So I'm going to go on player of the year. Give me a couple of weeks, and
Okay.
as we kick this thing into, I'll give you.
Man, I might as well just keep it going with the women's side of things. Who you have for coach of the year and
Ooh,
player of the year in ACC women's basketball? A too early prediction.
I'm gonna have to go up at my guy at the NC State, and his name is eclipsing me right now.
I know who you
He's
talking
done a
about.
phenomenal job with those young ladies. Yeah, and it's sad. You would say, well, why don't you know this guy's name? Because the funny thing is that NC State still lives in the shadows of Yao. So
Is it
it's
Westmore?
like
Is it
it's
Westmore?
like NC State. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yes. I like his style. I
Uh
think he
huh.
knows how to bring good recruits, good girls, girl recruits. In fact, I think he's actually helped the men's team quite a bit with the way the girls have played over the last couple of years
Yeah.
and giving them some notoriety in the round ball. But I'd have to go with Coach of the Year. It could be what's his name, Carolina's coach Courtney Banghart, but I'm not
Uh-huh.
there yet. Um, then there's the lady for Player of the Year, and here I go again with names. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got off of work. So there's a young lady at Carolina, I believe Asia.
Asia
You know her
Kelly.
name. There we go. I feel like she
Asia
could
Kelly.
be the Player of the Year at Carolina, and in the ACC. So way too early, way too early. But that's my pick, nephew. What's your thoughts?
Uh, you were in my head, man. I like Westmore, but I think Courtney
Yeah.
Banghart. I think Carolina gonna sweep them this year with all the awards.
Ooh,
Courtney Banghart, because last year she lost
ooh.
two or three top recruits to torn ACLs before the season even started.
Yes, she did.
And we were
Yes,
the
she
closest
did.
team in the NCAA tournament to potentially could beat South Carolina last year. So with
Um,
her style of coaching,
not face South Carolina early in the season.
uh, I I'd rather see them in a tournament where it's one,
Okay,
everything on the table. I'd rather see
gotcha,
them in the tournament.
gotcha.
But yeah, but she does a good job, and plus, man, she rocked the retro Jordans on the sideline, so she got to win.
Yeah,
She got to
check,
win.
check this out. Check this out. Guess who Carolina is playing tomorrow? UNC
Jackson State.
women's basketball, Jackson State, right?
Hmm.
Just because I had a conversation with a viewer and a friend this about the celebrity of Dion and what he's doing for Jackson State University, and Jackson State University's women's basketball team has gotten some fame here lately. But now they're coming to Chapel Hill, so tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, that's going to be interesting. To kind of see these number 12 women Tar Heels go at it. So, if you ask me who I think will win the women's ACC this year, I know you don't have it on the board to ask for women's, but I'm going to go with, and I know you're looking like I'm crazy, I'm going with NC State.
I can see that. NC State. I can also see Louisville.
I thought about Louisville. I just think NC State, as I talked about earlier, is a more complete, because I did, check this out a little bit. And Louisville, I would say it's going to come down to Louisville, NC State, maybe Carolina. That's my number 3. But if you look at what the coaches' polls and all the standings are saying, they got a little different spin on it. But that's my opinion in the women's side of things.
Deion Sanders' daughter, she's a freshman on Jackson State's women's basketball team, so she'll be there tomorrow.
Hey,
so
that's
a big time game.
Chapel Hill tomorrow.
I mean, he might make the trip. You never know. I mean, that's his daughter, man. He was at the first game when she hit her first 3 the other night. So we'll see.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Well, all I'm gonna say about that is go Heels. So, good luck to both teams tomorrow night. And as we talked about this in our first couple episodes, of supporting, women's athletics, as we talk heavily about the WNBA. Let's do this in college as well. Let's support these female athletes as you realize their skill set, their drive, their passion, some of the same hard work and work ethic. They do it very similar to the young men do as well. So let's support these young ladies.
All right, you ready to move on to football, man?
Yeah, man, let's do that. Let's
Not full of cornbread on this one, man. Ooh.
What we got, man? What's up first?
I remember it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. We called Wake Forest consistent, and they have been anything but since.
I'm okay with that. So, the reason being, if you don't know, the Tar Heels off with the Demon Deacons 7:30, ESPN 2 or U, but I believe it's 2 Saturday, and that could change depending on this weather with the hurricane or the tropical storm. But I'm okay with Wake Forest being consistent or inconsistent. I spoke that just based off of what I've seen from Wake Forest over the last 5 years, not the last 4 or 5 games, not the last year, last 5 years. If you go look at Wake Forest, Dave Clawson and that team has been in the bowl game historically and probably has the better outside of Clemson and then NC State in regards to consistency in bowl games and winning percentage. So when I made that statement, it was one of those things where I felt like the consistency would continue. But unfortunately for Sam Hartman, the only thing about him right now is interceptions.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say it.
Yeah. So
I think they're one-dimensional. 3 more this week. I think they're one-dimensional, man. I believe they're one-dimensional. They just like to throw the ball. I don't really. If they live and die by Sam Hartman, what Carolina pretty much had to do last year with Sam Howell.
Right. Let me say this about Wake Forest, and Maine played the nail right on the head. You hit the nail right on the head. One-dimensional, one-trick pony this year. They lost great receivers over the last couple of years. What's his name? Sage Surratt, a few other guys, and throw the ball. A lot of his receivers high point, grab the ball, bring it in, make him look great, make him look good. This year, Sam Hartman is that gunslinger, has that gunslinger mentality. I can get the ball downfield, but I don't know who I'm throwing it to.
Yeah.
And also, the running game for Wake Forest has been very inconsistent over the last couple of weeks. I hope it stays inconsistent this week because, well, we'll talk that in a bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
good way to put it, one dimensional.
Now let's talk about them wolf pike. The wolf pike.
The Wolf
Uh,
Up.
I,
The Wolf Up.
I believe they found their quarterback. That's what I believe.
You know, I agree with you. I think he is the future of NC State. Now, please do not get me wrong when I say this. I didn't say he was going to be great. I said he is the future. Unless
Mm-hmm.
NC State has, a 3-star or a 4-star, at least 3-star, but a 3 or 4-star quarterback coming in that I don't know about. I think this kid should finish out the season without any interruptions from the other chamber or the other grown man.
Who?
But yeah, here we go. Here we go. But NC State fans, beware. As NC State defense goes, so does your opportunity to win. And I also believe that NC State's defense bailed this young man out of a lot of situations last week. As I watched that game personally, I kept saying, if Isaiah Moore and the Wilson kid can play at a high level defense, they will
Mm-hmm.
win this game. But you got to put points on the board. And I think this kid, he did put points on the board. And a lot of y'all saying, you must have watched the same game. He did. But there was times where if it wasn't for the defense, those points would have been negated by Wake Forest. So, and I agree with you, Mr. Smith. He needs to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know that. Once again, I don't know that this is the kid that's going. Who do you guys have next week? I can't even remember. But I don't know if this kid is going to knock it out the park and take you. What is it? 9-8-2. I'm not sure. So we'll see.
We got Clemson now, man. I've been waiting to talk about these guys, man. Like I said 2 weeks ago, I put on the banner, who's going to be the quarterback?
You
They,
did. You sure did.
I mean, Dabo said DJ, but you say, and I see something totally different. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterbacks, pretty much.
Well, hold on. Isn't this the same story that we had with Down and Cat a couple
Say that
of years
again?
ago? Where if you all can, recollect back to the Kelly Bryant era
Oh,
at
yes.
Clemson,
Yep.
and Dabo kept saying, Kelly's my guy. And the next thing you know, we hear about a kid named Trevor Lawrence, which it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, I think you're in the same scenario, in the same situation. And I usually tear this kid's name up, DJ Uogle. Good luck, man. I don't know what your status is. I think you should go find another school to transfer to. That's my opinion. In fact, there's a lot of transfers that should happen on that team. But anyways,
Situation matters, man, but also the people around you. When he came in for Trevor that his freshman year, he had all them ball players around him. He looked very good, but when you got younger skill guys, or I would say not up to par as they were his freshman year, it really shows
absolutely.
how good you are or not. So
Right.
and that's also I think it's not good coaching on Dabo's part a little bit, play calling as well. It's a lot. It's a lot to go into
Absolutely.
that. Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, Dabo lost Brent Venables
Mm-hmm.
to Oklahoma, and he also lost Tony Elliott, forgive me,
Mm-hmm.
to
To
Virginia.
Virginia.
So for everyone to point the finger at DJ Uwangale, I think it's premature. The fans would do it in a heartbeat because he is the captain of that ship. And I had to give him credit because whenever the captain, if you see the ship, sync, the captain stays on board for the most part. And I think DJ is owning up to it. And I have to give that young man credit. This is where I see Dabo kind of being, he should be the true captain of the ship. And I think, listen, I think he's doing what he needs to do to win games. But if you watched the Notre Dame game the other night, the other kid came in and did just as bad. So, points back to what you said, Dabo, you need to take some onus on this now and figure it out.
Because a lot of times, man, when you got the best of the best, you ain't really got to coach like that. You put some give a good game plan, but when you have to really coach and like scheme to win, I have not seen that from him yet. I have not seen that from him yet. To me,
no, absolutely. And let's go back to another point that you made. Trevor Lawrence had weapons. T. Higgins, Justin
Travis
Ross, ETN, weapons. Listen, Clemson's record does not indicate, and is not indicative. 8-1, 4-0 in the conference is not indicative of the lack of weapons that this team is missing. You have Shipley, the running back, which is carrying most of the load. What I see happening to Shipley is a couple of things. And maybe I'm a little ahead of schedule on this thought, but I see Shipley being the next Christian McCaffrey.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
So now, if it's 8-9 games, I mean, come on, man, run this guy to the ground by the time you get to the ACC championship, which I'm hoping he is tired because for other reasons we'll talk about in a second. But I don't know. I see Mr. Smith says DJ is not the man. You know, he's had flashes, but compared him to QBs in the past, he doesn't have it. The it factor. I mean, I get that, but I just once again I have to go back to the weapons, the lack of weapons, and the lack of coaching. Unfortunately, bad timing for DJ to be a quarterback.
Yep.
So
I do like to touch on that. Saban and Dabo are being figured out. You know what I think? The NIL is leveling the playing field. NIL is leveling the playing field. Now you could go anywhere and get paid. So you ain't got to go to Alabama to get the biggest bag. And it's showing this year.
So it is showing 100%, i.e. Roy Williams. And then following Mike Krzyzewski. I tore his name up on purpose. I hate that guy. But anyways, Coach K. I think both of those guys realized what the NIL and the portal was going to do to the sport. That they could coach in the box they were able to coach in. The box favored those two guys over the last couple of years in the way they coached and how they recruited. Now Saban, like you said, it's actually leveling the playing field for Dabo and Saban. And I've been in a lot of these facilities, guys. Don't get me wrong. I think Clemson and Alabama were ahead of schedule with these nicer facilities, but now everyone else is par for the course with their facilities as well. So now it's like, okay, I can stay closer to home and get the exact same locker room, get the exact same game room. Telling you, it's a different playing field now. And look at the area that you're in. Like, look at Clemson. Clemson is out in the middle of nowhere. In regards to like being in the metropolitan area. Look at the NC States. Look at the Carolinas. Look at some of the other schools that are in bigger major cities. Kids are going to want to play in those cities as well with the same type of locker room, same type of setup. So you hit the nail on the head once again, nephew. It's changing the game for those two top tier coaches.
Yes, it is. And they were against the NIL because they knew what it was going to do. But
yeah.
Let's move on to the best team in the ACC right now. The boys down in Chapel Hill. We tried to tell them, hey, what Gino say? They wrote us off, but we didn't write back.
I get a little bit of bass in my voice. Before we go into this magnificent conversation of being a Tar Heel, I have to reiterate today's show, even though we didn't say it, today's show is sponsored by the election. Go out and vote. You still have an hour, 60, 58 minutes to go out and vote, ladies and gentlemen. The polls close at 7:30. If you're watching us, thank you. Thank you. But if you haven't voted, go look it up. You go look up everything else on Google. Go look up the precinct and where you should go vote. And furthermore, do not be scared or discouraged to go vote. A lot of our ancestors had to fight. Their blood is on voting. Their namesake is on voting. So go do it for your rights. And if you don't do it for yourself, go do it for the ones who did it before us. So go out and vote, whether you vote red or whether you vote blue. Go out and vote. Vote for the issues that matter to you. Vote for the issues that matter to your household and your pocket. I also would say, do not be deceived by issues, certain terms. Do not be deceived by something that may or may not affect you. Inflation may not affect you as much as you think it will. It might affect you. It's going to affect everyone, but there's always a back end to everything. So go out and vote. And maybe inflation is affecting you. And if it is, go vote against it. So, ladies and gentlemen, go out and vote. Go rock the vote, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we back.
Go ahead, man. The only 5-0 undefeated team on the road this year as well. So,
man, no, I'm
okay. I mean, I remember about week 2, week 3, we was discussing the defense. But right now, even though we still aren't there all the way there, we're still giving up least points in ACC play right now. So I can say I see some improvement. We lost some guys, getting some guys back. But that boy Drake, man.
Right.
That boy Drake, man, it's something else. I'm trying to. He don't even look like he's supposed to be that good, but that boy good.
Hey, that boy good. And if you don't know what we're talking about, Drake May, ladies and gentlemen. Drake May. So now, I made a reference to NC State earlier about NC State. The defense is carrying their wins. The wins that they've had the last 2 games. Now, Carolina's offense is carrying the defense in the last 2 to 3 games, actually the whole season. And how sweet it is to be able to score. Drake, this is what I will say, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen this young man play, watch him. And you'll see why we're so high on him. Not because we're Tar Heel fans, but he does almost everything right. Almost. He could have a bad game, and God, I hope it's not this one coming up.
It looks so easy, though. It looks so easy.
He's having fun. He's having a lot of fun. I remember, Mr. Smith, you might remember this. We used to play flag football in the backyard, and there was a young man, shout out to Tobias McDonald. Man, one of the craziest athletic people I ever seen play in my life. But he would have so much fun, whether he was passing the ball or throwing the ball. Tobias puts you in the mind of a Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson was even a thing. Drake looks like, and I know this comparison is hard if you've never seen Tobias play, but I would see him have fun. We all would have fun. He's just having so much fun doing the things that he's really good at. And same thing with Lamar Jackson. I know that's not the right comparison. Listen, Lamar Jackson, Drake May, come on. Lamar is having fun and Drake's having fun. From a style of quarterback play, here I am. I'm being bold with this. I think Drake has the closest game to Tom Brady that we have seen out of a collegiate quarterback in the last 2 to 3 years, other than Justin Herbert. And the comparisons were to Justin Herbert. But Drake has the patience, the IQ. Sometimes he shows his freshmanness. I see your face, but he has patience, the IQ, and the arm and the accuracy. That's very Tom Brady-ish.
Brady can't run like Drake, though.
True.
All right,
true,
I'm
true.
gonna read you. I'm gonna read you something.
Go ahead.
So the Heisman front runner right now 2,453 yards, 29
Okay.
touchdowns, 4
Okay.
interceptions,
All right.
75 rushing yards, 0 rushing touchdowns with a 9-0 record. Now, Drake May's stats 2,964 passing yards,
You preach to me in the
31
boot,
touchdowns,
nephew.
3
Preach.
interceptions,
Preach.
513 rushing yards, 5 rushing
Preach.
touchdowns, 8-1 record. But
Preach.
somehow he's not in the conversation. I don't understand that.
Let me do something real quick because I don't want all you non-Tar Heel fans to jump down my throat. Read this comment at the bottom of the screen, viewers. This is coming from one of the viewers. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Now, this is coming from a state fan, ladies and gentlemen, which we argue with this young man, Mr. Smith, about state schedule and the lack thereof schedule for the last 5-6 years. It ain't our fault that Miami decided to be inconsistent. It's not our fault that Pitt picked this year not to be great instead of last year. If we were going off the books, if we were going off the numbers, Pitt was supposed to be a good team this year. It's not our fault that Brendan Armstrong from Virginia, who had a stellar year last year, decided to be a scrub. Now, I get it. Bronco Mendenhall decided to retire, whatever he decided to do, and had a new coaching staff, but they still have some of the same players. I can go on. Let's see. Who else in that 8? And it ain't our fault, fans show up. It ain't our fault. It ain't our fault. I get it.
I can end that argument right there. Okay.
End it.
Bryce Young also in the Heisman conversation for Alabama. Played 1 top 50 defense this year. Drake May has played 4 already. Come on, man. And he's averaging over 300 yards per game.
Yeah. Don't look at the teams. Look at the rankings of defense and offense and all those things. I'll show you. This guy now top 4. So I don't want to hear anything about that, Mr. Smith. For anybody else who's sitting there at the computer or wherever you listening and watching us on your little iPhone or whatever, and you want to talk your little noise, it ain't our fault. So
and my last stat to throw at you about Drake. My last stat. The first freshman in FBS history to record 30 passing touchdowns through his first 9 games of a season. That includes Johnny Manziel, Jameis Winston, Trevor Lawrence, Sam Howell, all these guys. He's at the top of that list, man. If he's not in the Heisman conversation, then just do away with the award at this point. And that's all I'm gonna say about it.
I agree.
And that's all I'm gonna say about it.
Mr. Smith seems that he's nice. Even Mr. Smith seems to think that he's nice. I appreciate you recognize greatness, Mr. Smith. I appreciate that. Now let's talk about the other pieces of Carolina, right? Week 1, I was ready to throw Gene Chizik in the trash. I was. And I still want to put him on the shelf right now. I won't look at him too much. But roller coaster. It's been more a roller of a downward spiral. Gene Chizik's like the stock market right now. If you look at the trends, it's kind of been up and down. I think the highs came when we played Miami, and I hope the low was Virginia, and I hope we're going back up now against Wake Forest. Offensively, Phil Longo. I haven't been a fan of Phil Longo for at least the last year and a half. I think Phil is still trying to micromanage the offense, and I think he realized that he has the QB that can probably be more efficient with some more aggressive plays. Special teams, because that's an important piece. Special teams has been better. We did lose three key players. We talked about this last week. Noah Taylor, which was a UVA transfer.
Mm-hmm.
That kid came in and played lights out last couple of games. And when we started to apply pressure, he was one of those guys that decided, hey, I'm gonna play a level up. Des Evans, you can see the void of Noah Taylor last week and the void of Des Evans last week. If you
Mm-hmm.
could. I could identify the void of not having Caleb Hood, but maybe so many others didn't because Green had a really good game. But Caleb Hood, I think, probably will produce a few more yards against that Virginia defense. So the key pieces of Carolina is still intact, and I think it's next man up. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that Carolina can go to Wake Forest and handle business.
Yes. I think we handled them well, man. I think Mac means business right now, man. These boys, like I was texting you the other day, man. If we can get into this top 10 before the ACC championship game,
Yeah, yeah,
is hey, the sky's the limit because a lot of those teams are gonna beat each other out. So
absolutely. Well,
just got to handle business, man. Just got to
um,
handle business.
I think you sent me the text the other day. Carolina holds the tiebreakers to all the teams. I think we need Duke to lose. We need Wake Forest to. Sorry, we need to beat Wake Forest. We need Georgia Tech to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina holds the tiebreakers, exception of of Georgia Tech, which we
Mm-hmm.
play in 2 weeks. But their record, I believe, right now is so low that I'm not sure that can affect us. So,
Yeah.
non-Carolina fans, I would ask that you root for us. If you are not a Wake Forest fan, root for us because you know you really want to, and you really want to see a good. You want to see a good ACC championship game, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Because
But
I
man,
think we go ahead.
I, I ain't gonna say no more about Carolina, man. I just wanted to handle business.
You know, I'm gonna say something about Carolina. Go no, go Heels, man. That's all I'm gonna say about Carolina. We need Virginia Tech to step up this week. We need Virginia Tech to step up big and beat Duke. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right,
What's going
we're
on
gonna
with
leave
the
it
Joko
alone.
football?
Man, listen. I know you're devastated. It was a hard
I-
fault. Go ahead.
I'm proud of them.
Go ahead.
I'm
Let's
proud
see
of them.
what
I
your
mean,
team, man.
three. If you lose a game 3-0, I can't even be mad at that. We didn't give up a touchdown, so that's cool. I mean, you live to fight another year, man.
It's impressive.
The old Triple S wouldn't even
Yeah,
even been in that position. I know playing Wilson Hunt, I've had my share of battles with them. They were always a good team with great talent. So just holding them to a field goal a whole game. Shout out to Coach
yeah.
Donald, man. Better luck next year. I'm proud of them boys.
What do you know about the Triple S opportunities for next year? Are they returning a lot of players? Obviously, the
Uh,
culture is there, but what do you know?
they're returning a nice amount of players. They actually have people that actually want to play, so they're actually
Yeah,
having, precision battles, which we used to didn't
yeah,
have for a while.
yeah,
So you actually
yeah,
have people hungry. So it's the up and up, man. You got people that's taking pride in playing at Triple S again, and that's what breeds any good team, good football team is pride, heart.
yeah.
So what
One
did
time for
Princeton
the
do?
Spartans, man. Well,
What
let's
did
give Triple S man their due, man. Let's give them their due. One time for the Spartans, man. Better luck next year to that whole team, man. And any of you guys who are graduating, we hope that you're getting some offers from some universities to go play because that would be cool, man, and get Joko's name back into the football conversation. So big ups to Triple S, man. Now you wanted to know about those Bulldogs.
mm-hmm.
Man, I'm gonna just be real with you, man. You know, here I go smiling again. I said this last week, man. We put up 100 points on people if we want to. Uh, the Bulldogs last week had Goldsboro Cougars come to town, and this is crazy because, man, to hear Princeton playing Goldsboro is a city of 30,000, 40,000 people, man. And then you got little old Princeton, city of 2,000 at most. Probably with the outskirts of the kids coming in, you can say 5,000 people. To see this happen is crazy. But, man, Princeton put a whooping on Goldsboro, man. 64-8. I mean, beat the brakes off of them, man.
Good
I'm
Lord.
trying to get to the game this week. And I'm hoping that we can get that hurdle of number one, get thinking to be Wallace Hill. Man, Princeton running backs, man, they got running backs for days and they can score at will. And they run a very simple offense. The offense is so simple. You know, I might be telling some of the inside scoop, but there's only like 6 plays in the whole offense. So, you know, unless they added more over the last year, but only like 6 plays, man, 64 points. The defense, 8 points allowed, 8 total points allowed. So, you know, shout out to the Bulldogs, man. Princeton, P-Town, we see you. Keep it going. Hopefully, I see you Friday night. And actually, because of this hurricane tropical depression, they may be moving some games up a day. So we'll keep you posted on that. Once again, Green Central Rams, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Jay Wilson, Bulldog alum, Aggie alum. Mr. Jay Wilson, keep doing your thing, man. They got the dub the other night. I think this is the first dub for them since 2005 in the playoffs. Coming up, I think they travel to Nash Central Thursday night because of the hurricane or the tropical depression. 7 p.m. Go check out and support the crib, the home team, Jay Wilson and the Green Central Rams. Those young men are literally showing us right before their eyes how transformation happens. This team, we got this team a couple of years ago. You didn't hear about this team at all. And now look at them. So that's what you call believing in the culture, ladies and gentlemen. So last but not least, man, right in my backyard, the Cleveland Rams. Cleveland handled business with Topsail the other night. Mopped the floor with the boys, man. 42-14.
Wow.
Yeah, no, well, that's Cleveland, right? So here's the problem. They play Roseville this week.
They play Goldsboro?
No.
So,
Roseville. Excuse that Johnstonian dialect. Roseville.
Oh, Rose. Okay.
If any from the Wake Roseville area for years, that school was combined, and that school would year after year put guys in the NFL, Dexter Lawrence, a few others. Now in this Wake Forest High School and it's Roseville, and both are powerhouses. I'm hoping that Cleveland can get into the Wake team. Rose was the Wake Forest. I'm giving this is the week for go report or it's just high school football. It's the Dogs and Prince, whether it's Central Rams, Highway 13, and we want to come up to 40-42 and support the Cleveland Rams as well. There's some high school football to watch, ladies and gentlemen. It's exciting. So enough about Joko. Congratulations, Don. Keep doing the good work. So before we switch gears quick, you still have time, ladies and gentlemen. You still have about 4 minutes to vote. All town, probably 2 minutes away from your voting facility. If you live, you should be 4, 5, 6 minutes away from your voting facility wherever you are. If you don't know where, go on Google, check it, put your address in. Stop watching us. Go vote. Go vote for whatever it is that you want to vote for. School bonds, school board, senators. Right now, I did mention this earlier. We talked about Rafford and we talked about Herschel Hawkins, but in this state, North Carolina, we have, and we also have Ted Budd. We have Wally Nichols and Bo Nix, who is an ex-NC State football player. All running for Don Davis down east, going up Smith. These are all races you want to pay attention to in your district because it could change the outcome of things for your livelihood and for your future. So Go out, rock vote, man. You got what's that? Like I said, 50 minutes, or I'm sorry, 40 minutes now. Go and stop watching us and go vote. You can come back and watch us next week, or you can go watch the replay. So, nephew, what you got next?
HBCU of the week, Tuskegee University, man. Tuskegee University. Tuskegee, located Tuskegee, Alabama. Founded July 4th, 1881 by Booker T. Washington. Their current enrollment is around 3,053. Their conference is Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Their affiliation is NCAA Division II. And just a few facts about Tuskegee. The number one number one producer of African American aerospace science engineers in the nation. A leading producer in the country of African American engineering graduates in chemical, electrical, and mechanical engineering. The only college or university campus in the nation to be designated a National Historic Site by the U.S. Congress. Originator and producer of the famous Tuskegee Airmen in partnership with the U.S. Army Air Corps. And just a quick shout out, I mentioned his name in the Facebook comments, Muhammad Halim. He goes to my church, but he's a Tuskegee alum, studied aerospace engineer. He's a commercial rated pilot and a flight instructor. He also is the owner and operator of Star Christian Academy. And he's also one of my mentors. So I just want to give him a shout out. When I was younger, coming through middle school and high school, he took us to see, airplanes, inside of an airplane, what it looks like, to, fly a plane, be a pilot, stuff like that, different things other than, sports and, music and stuff like that, So shout out to Mr. Muhammad Halim. You see this, man, I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're still sending people to college right now, still helping people with their homework, still tutoring. He's doing all that while he's, flying planes and teaching people how to be pilots. So shout out to you and shout out to Tuskegee University.
Shout out to Tuskegee. Shout out to Mr. Muhammad. Big ups to those two. Tuskegee should be a name that rings in your mind just based off of the airmen, the red tent. And listen, we've been shouting out HBCUs from day one. We've got majority, if not the NC institutions. Now we traveling to Alabama. So if you want to get out of the state and you want to go travel and learn abroad, I should say abroad, domestically inside of the United States, go to Tuskegee. And you don't have to, people, I hear this all the time. I can't wait to get out of Johnston County. Get out of Johnston County. Get out. Go to Tuskegee. Go learn. If you're tired of the same old people around here, in fact, what you might find, you might find out more about your heritage and your history if you go to an HBCU, if you go to HBCU down south. And hear more of the history of the things that happen in those areas. So shout out to Tuskegee University. Tuskegee, I can tell you this much. This is what I know about Tuskegee. It's a very distinguished university because of its name. And it's known throughout the United States. HBCU or not, Tuskegee is. So shout out, kudos to our HBCU of the week, Tuskegee University. It's beautiful, man. Beautiful campus.
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir. Man, that's all I got for you today, man. That was a lot of cornbread for me.
There's a lot of cornbread. Let me tell you, y'all, I'm gonna keep saying this. We're going to continue to get better with this. And I know you say, "Oh, are you really?" Yeah, we are. We work for a living as well. And next time we hop up on this show before I walk in the house a lot of times and boom, I want to get to your viewers. And so we're doing this because we really enjoy talking about a lot of the sports issues, but we're going to transition. We're going to get to some real issues. We got to be careful too about some of these issues, but we're going to address them. We're going to have our viewer, or I should say our guest host or guest back onto the show here pretty soon. So you might want to check in. You might want to tell your friends about us. You might want to share. Go to the Cornbread Commentary on Facebook. Share it. Cornbread Commentary on YouTube. Share it. And then if you're unsure, send us a message to our personal pages. We can get you linked up. We want to get our viewership up, absolutely. But today, we want you to go vote. All right? You still got about 33 minutes. Hop in your hoopty, go to the precinct, vote. If they try to turn you away and you're registered, report them. You can report them. There's a site. Google it. You can report them. Do not be afraid to go vote. I know there's been threats about, if people go vote, we're going to harm this precinct. Vote. If you're scared to go vote and you want to go vote, call me personally. I'll make sure we get in there safe and sound. So go vote, ladies and gentlemen. Nephew, what else is on your mind? Is that it?
Hey man, that's all I got today, man. You have a blessed week, man. And go Heels, man.
Ooh, go Heels. Ladies and gentlemen, go Heels.
Welcome to the Cornbread Commentary podcast for everybody.